What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to share some new stuff I just got in here today. We are reorganizing the tackle. I just posted a tackle organization video like the other day, but then I had this crazy idea. I was like, I'm gonna switch things up entirely. I'm gonna go ahead and just order $300 worth of Plano Edges. All different categories of Plano Edges, and I'm excited to share those with you today and what we're gonna be using them for, and possibly how it's gonna fit into bank fishing and kayak fishing organization for me. So this video is probably going to be helpful for you, especially moving into the tackle organization season. But hey, before we get to the products themselves, if you guys like the content, you're looking for more unboxings, reviews, and fishing videos, be sure to subscribe, smash a like, and ring that notification bell. So hey, let's talk about these Plano Edges. I'm pretty stoked to see these. I've actually already organized mine, but I also picked up, the reason the order was so big, a whole bunch for Paul. So I want to show you what we got here. First off, this big honkin' ammunitions case is actually a spinnerbait box, and that is pretty slick. This latch is gigantic. If you guys aren't familiar with the Plano Edges, they come with just one latch. It's a single latch system, and it's a waterproof seal with Rustrictor built in, so it is rust resistant, which is fantastic. It dries out really well as well because of the moisture wicking blocks that are in these, and you can replace those boxes. This one I'm not going to be able to show you because, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this. This whole thing comes out, and now we just have an empty box, which you could use for other stuff, I guess, if you wanted to. Here's your moisture block, your water wick, as they call it. You can see on the back, it's really just filled with like those silica gel packets. And of course, yeah, you can make your own. That's not really the big value here. The big value is with like these little ventilated slots here, which keep everything separated. It helps let water kind of pass through. If you open this up on a rainy day or something like that, like these things will dry out really fast. They're set up to do so. And also these boxes are pretty gosh dang durable. I have broken one, not one of these, but my jig box that I had for, I don't know, probably well over a year and a half now, and just beat the tar out of. I think I honestly just dropped it on the road. So, I mean, chances are it's gonna break if that happens. So what I like about this spinnerbait box a lot, other than the fact that it's long and holds a ton of spinnerbaits, is these dividers, right? So these dividers, they slide back and forth. They don't come out. They're kind of locked into this one main middle piece here, but that allows you to divide up by like buzz baits, light colors, dark colors, whatever you want to do. So you can keep your spinnerbaits much more organized. They might look something like this. So I've got like my white and chartreuse and blue colors here. I've got my buzz baits down here on the end, as well as one of my homemade spinnerbaits, which is trash. And then we've got more of your loud spinnerbaits. I've got my dark natural colors, and I've got my black and oranges down here. So you can divide it up however you want. This thing will hold an easy, I don't know, I'd say 30 spinnerbaits. Listen to that music to my ears. It's not exactly compact, it's kind of huge, but just other news and noteworthy here. You've got little labels here, which you can use like dry erase or permanent marker even, and you can use an alcohol wipe and just wipe it off, or nail polish remover. So you can change the labels if you want to, but that can be really helpful. This to me is obvious, it's spinnerbaits, but I think this base box model is actually what they use for their plastics containers as well. So if you had multiple of these, you could label them different ways, of course. So obviously that's more of a specialty box. It's not one that I expect to take out on the water, but you totally could. I mean, with the Hobie 360, I've got room under the seat. I could slide that in there next to my plastics bin easily. So I could take it if I wanted to. I don't typically need 30 spinnerbaits. I usually bring like 8 to 10 already in one of my boxes, so I'm not gonna bother with that. But on a longer trip, I could take that with me, leave it in the truck, and just grab spinnerbaits as needed, and change things up as the trip goes on. So I think that's awesome. I'm stoked for it. That's replacing my Flambeau big mouth boxes, like the Ike approved ones, just because those boxes are kind of cheap and they break a lot. I've broken many of those, so not a big fan. They do have like the rust protection in them, but they don't drain very well. The water doesn't really dry out that well. They're just not all around my favorite boxes in the world is all. The next box I want to look at is possibly one of my favorite in this order, right? This is the Downsized Terminal Box. It's a 3600 size box. The terminals I love because they're all skinny, so they fit really well in like any container. I'm gonna put out a video on what I take in my river fishing bag, and it's a small bag, does not hold big boxes. This is gonna come in big time handy. I'll show you what mine looks like in a second. But again, you got your one latch system, you got your label down here, so this would be like river terminal for me is what this is gonna be. Water wicking cube, you've got long containers here, and if you guys don't know, these come out, right? And you can buy these separately, so you can customize this however you want. You can swap these out with other terminal boxes. I now have 3 terminal boxes. Ugh. 2 are 3700 size, and then I just got this one 3600 size. But these are nice. They've got their own individual closures, right? So you don't have your hooks mixing around, or in my case for river tackle, tube jigs, Ned rigs, things like that. So you can reorganize this however you want. You can pick up extra cubes here and you can replace them. I like these little split dividers here. You'll see what I'm using for in a second. And then you got like the long space here. The only thing I wasn't stoked about with this was that in the 3700 size, you'll see in a second, you have dividers you can move in this section. And in this, you don't have an option, right? So I just have this one long section here, and I don't know what I want to keep there. But if you guys are taking your stuff to the water in a tackle bag, chances are this is sitting like this, right? Or in my case, vertically like this. So all the stuff in here is just gonna slide to the bottom, and that's not ideal. So that was the only downfall I'd say to this box, but still, it's an amazing utility box. I'm stoked to use it, especially for river fishing, for wading the river. So here's what mine looks like. As you can see, I still don't know what to do with this long section. So I just have my football heads, my wobble heads for the river. These are amazing, by the way, if you're just dragging like down river, letting it drift through rocks. Beaver style plastic on here. It's gonna look like a craw or just a straight craw plastic. Let that drift through rocky sections. You're gonna get bit by some big smallies. We've got some tungsten Neds over here, and then I actually organized all my Neds throughout. Got our EWGs, we got our light color mule fishing, chartreuse and white. We got some monster bass EWGs, brand new. We got our Z-Mans in white and black, Z-Mans and chartreuse. And we got our super light mule fishing jigs up here, which are my hands down favorite, but we got pink, we got chartreuse and white. And then way over here, we got a 1/64 ounce jig, which I barely ever get to use. We got some more tungstens in the lighter weights. You know, we just mixed it up. Then we got our big stuff up here. So we got the longer Z-Man Finesse bullets, as well as the Owner EWG Neds. Those are too big to fit into any other container, but this way I can keep them contained. And then we got tube jigs right over here. So I'm stoked for this. This is kind of everything I need terminal wise for the river. I'm not usually using like worm weights. You can't drop shot in Michigan rivers. So Ned rigs is the way to go. This keeps them organized. It's much lighter than the Busby Colony 15 I was using. And now you'll see in my river video, I can use that Busby Colony 15 purely for like small cranks, MEPs, and other things like that. All right. This box is freaking cool. If you guys have not heard of the Plano Edge FLEX yet, you are missing out. This is a fully customizable, and I'm gonna show you how crazy customizable it is, box. It's slightly deeper than a normal Plano 3700. Check it out. There's your normal Plano 3700 right here. Here's the FLEX. You get a little extra space, but it's not quite as deep as the Plano Edge Deep box. Here's the Plano Edge Deep. Here's the Plano Edge FLEX. So it's this in-between size, which first and foremost is awesome. You've got a custom depth essentially to this. But then on the inside, you can see we have all of our different like slot options all around here, right? But then we've got these pieces right here and they interlock together. So rather than having, you know, specific rows like you're gonna see in the Plano Edge Deep box in a second, you make your own rows, right? Each of these pieces has its own little slot. And this is what you get to play with. So you've got the big 4 divider. So this is the big piece. This will take you front to back. That's this piece right here from this side to this side. Then in between those, you can do a 3, a 2, or a 1. So you can make a million different compartments. If we're just speaking in terms of like cube spaces, right? We'll call it a 1 by 1. We could take our 4 here, we can throw a 2 in there, And now we have like a short little divider here, maybe for one bait. Or we could add another 4 right here, making a skinny row, and then throw this little 1 block between it, and now you have a real tiny spot over here. So if you want to be really organized with specific baits, or you have baits like a Z-Man pre-rigged, I think it's the Hercules, right, with the Z, pre-rigged swim baits, or the Chase Baits Wiggle Bomb, or the Chase Baits Cicada Bug, these baits that don't necessarily mesh well with other baits, then you could single them out. And you can see all the individual blocks here down at the bottom too. So you have like this guide. This thing is freaking cool. I went with the most boring setup first. So sorry if this lacks creativity, but I'm sure it'll change over time. But I went this route so that I could have deep cranks, big square bills, regular cranks, that's like the 6 to 8 foot diving range, and then flat sides. And I just did it to organize these bulkier crankbaits, body baits that I don't necessarily have room for in my regular Plano boxes. And because this is deeper than a normal box, it's easy to fit them all in here. And I get it, like, oh, you're piling up all your crankbaits, they're gonna get all stuck together. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to shake them apart, so I'm not really worried about that. Boom, the Flex box is amazing. If you guys haven't checked it out, you need to check this out. And this is newer to this past year. I think it's the newest of the options that they have. Let's move to the big boy. So I was using this box right here. I mean, you've got 3 snaps on it, kind of a pain in the butt. It is watertight, you can see the seal right there. It doesn't come with a lot of divider options. You either did it this way, or you would do like this long divider here, like here and here. It gives you like 4 rows, right? It's fine. It does have Z-rust in it. It does okay. It doesn't, I mean, you could throw a silica gel packet in there or whatever. It's fine. It's just, I wanted to go heavier duty. So with this bad boy, we got the 1 latch system, which by the way is the biggest latch that they make. Open that up and we can really compartmentalize this baby. So you can see here, this is where I'm rocking all my swim baits. So I've got this divided out to be like my bluegill crappie baits. We got hybrid swim cranks from 6 cents. We've got speed glide style baits from, you know, like the Buka bullgill, bull shad, 6 cent speed glide, all of that. Big swim baits, which I barely ever use, but I keep my favorite 2 right up here. And then soft body swim baits up here, pre-rigged, through lines, all that stuff. And then down here, we've got top waters. Big honking top waters that I never get a chance to use. So we got like the Mad Dog, Mag Dog. Can't remember if it's called the Mad Dog, Mag Dog. I feel embarrassed, but that's the 6 cents. Fantastic top water, walks super well. I've got the giant whopper plopper that I got from Justin Royal in here. I've got a Rapala wake bait. I've got the Speed Wake from 6 cents in here, which I love, and the Fish Lab version. And then I've got the, oh my gosh, what is this? Savage Gear prop bait as well. So we got tons of crazy stuff in here. Big baits that I don't always take. This is not an every trip box, but this is a way for me to have it with me. If I go on a trip and I want to grab this box and we just want to go for them, then I can do that. And I like this better because you've got all of these big old dividers in here you can use. Oh, and here's all the big hooks. These are heavy belly weighted hooks. We've got underspins, big old underspins that I don't typically throw, but as an option, we've got them in there. And there you go. This is a fantastic box. I'm really stoked for it. Having the single latch system is amazing. And I think it's a lot easier to organize all these big baits. They just don't fit like, for my Buzzbees, for example, which I love using my Buzzbees, still as a day box, my go-to day box. Swim baits don't fit in there. They don't fit, even the speed glides or the hybrid swim cranks, they're tough to fit in there. You would have to get the Buzzbee Deep, but even then, like this 13 Fishing Glidesdale, right? Or the Molix glide bait that I have, or the 6 cents glide baits I have, like they don't really fit very well into any of those cubes in the Buzzbee. So this gives me the whole entire row open if I want to, or throw these dividers in to split it out. So I like this option a lot better. Last box, definitely my favorite and sort of my initiation into the Plano Edge world. I've had these for a while. Well, I had one of them for a while. Now I have 3 all of a sudden because they're fantastic, but that is the Plano Edge Terminal Box.
I love this thing. First of all, skinny, awesome. Second of all, opens more than 180 degrees. Awesome. So I sit in a kayak most of the time, right? You guys know I kayak fish, but even if I'm on the bank, like I want this to open all the way. Issue I had with companies like, say, Bass Mafia was when they didn't open all the way. My Bass Mafia terminal coffin opened to here. And if you set it down, sometimes it'll just do this. That's not cool. My Buzzbee terminal box I made, way too heavy because I would end up inevitably filling it all the way. It's just too much, it's ridiculous. So what I love about this, obviously you got your moisture wick right there, but you have an expanded version of what we just showed you with the 3600 size. However, here's that difference I was talking about. Boom, dividers. This is crucial. This makes such a huge difference because now I can customize this bottom row. And they missed that on the 3600. I wish they could have just made a smaller version of these to use for the 3600, because it really would have come in handy. That big long middle section is just not really good for much. I don't know why they did that, so it's my one drawback from this whole video. Otherwise, I'm pumped for all this stuff. You've got a million compartments here for whatever you want to throw in there. I'll show you what I'm using on this in a second. And then, boom, hands down, my favorite thing ever, so amazing. These silicone weight holders, dude. And they come out, so you could replace 1 or 2 or 3 of these with those long boxes right there, because you can buy extra from Plano and put them across the top if you want to. But your worm weights, your flipping weights, all that stuff, they will fit into these. Check it out. And that is a silicone, replaceable, removable container there, plus an extra label on top. So I can say these are like all 1/4 ounces or all 1/16, right? I can change that up depending on what weights I have there. Or I can put a range. I mean, it's long enough, you can easily write a range on there, right? So 1/16 to 1/4 ounce, whatever you want to do. I just find this to be extremely tactical. It makes getting to this stuff a lot easier, more enjoyable. And I mean, that's really what this comes down to. Like, organizing tackle, although it's a boring endeavor, is something that is necessary for you to be more efficient and effective on the water. And when you're more efficient and effective, you catch more fish. And when you catch more fish, you have more fun. And that's what it's all about. So here we have my alternative terminal box. That's what I'm calling it. I have my main terminal box, which contains like my EWGs, my offset worm hooks, my flipping hooks, my tube hooks, like all that stuff. This is the stuff that is like not my go-to, but I'll reach for them down the line if other things aren't working, but I definitely still want to have them with me on the water. That's this box's purpose. So in here, you're gonna have things like screw lock hooks, which would be used for like frogs especially, pre-rig Carolinas, as well as Tokyo rigs. So Tokyo rigs I'm definitely not always using because they don't work in all cover situations, but I love using them, so I want to have them on me. Carolina, not my go-to thing to use, but I want to have it on me in case I need to use it. We've got skirted drop shot hooks. These are just interesting. Typically, I'll just go for a straight regular hook, but this is a nice variation. Willow vibes from Z-Man. Definitely don't use them that much, but it's a good option. A little finesse chatterbait, as finessey a chatterbait as you can get. We've got Nico weights. I don't Nico rig too much. I'm usually Ned rigging instead, or wacky rigging. We got shaky heads. We got swim bait hooks. We got weedless underspins. And up here in one of these boxes, we got the big weights, so brass Carolina weights and 1 ounce to 1.75 ounce tungsten right there, which fits in this box. Those weights are huge, but they fit in this box, so keep that in mind. Like, you can pack a ton of stuff into this thing. Look at this. Wow. We also got random terminal that you use sometimes, but you definitely need to have on the water. So we got extra treble hooks. We got Finesse swim bait hooks. We got snap clips for my swim baits and stuff like that. Carolina beads and swivels, beads for flipping, more Nico weights over here, just cheap lead ones. That's about it. I mean, I still have 4, 5, 6, 7 compartments to fill. This is just what I could get when I downsized my Buzzbee terminal, and this weighs about 7 pounds less than that did, so I'm already stoked about it. So lightweight, Skinny, takes up less room, but now I can have that alternative terminal stuff with me on the water if I need it. All right, guys, there you have it. This is all the new stuff that I picked up from Plano. This is the Plano Edge Spinnerbait Box, 3600 size terminal, 3700 size terminal, 3700 size deep, possibly my favorite, the 3700 size flex. This thing is fantastic, and I can rearrange this a million different ways depending on the season. So I'm stoked about that. I'm also still using some regular 3700 size boxes for other baits as well. So this is like small cranks and lipless baits. I've got my main terminal box, which is a 3700, and I've got my main Busby, which is my go-to. And I also use a Busby box, which is all long boxes for jerk baits. If you guys are looking for more info on all that other stuff, I showed it in a recent video where I organized all my tackle. So I'll leave a link in the description below. You can check that out as well. And stay tuned because I'm gonna be dropping a video on river fishing. So if you're wading the river or you're going just light stuff in a sit inside kayak or a paddleboard or whatever you're using and you just wanna go light, I've got some options for you in an upcoming video. That's it for me today, guys. Hopefully you're having an awesome day. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe, smash the like, ring the notification bell, and come back for Thursdays when we go live at 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys are awesome. We'll see you in the next video.